So which team is proposing the motion? Come on. The opposing team, kindly come over.
Recently, it was reported in media that a woman from Migori named Maureen Atieno was married by 2 men and she was arrested. Another instance is of Rachel Mukeku in Makueni, who was married by 2 men. Mira Muteu proposing the motion that states, for Kenya to grow both economically and socially, then polygamy and polyandry should be legalized. Kenya, I'll first start by breaking down the motion so that you can assimilate. Kenya is a country where you and I grow is to develop in a particular place, economically and socially. It's a way that provides good service. And to my first point, reduction of spread of diseases. If Kenya legalized polygamy and polyandry, there will be reduced rate of diseases, reduced spread of diseases. Some diseases like STIs and STDs, STIs and HIV will be reduced because since one man has married a lot of women and one woman is married by a lot of maybe one more than one husband, it will reduce the effects of the spread. Because let's take an instance where a woman is married to 2 men. She wants to have the urge to go outside and maybe to associate with other men outside there. On to my second point, sharing collective responsibility. If Kenya legalized polyandry and polygamy, Kenya will grow both economically and socially. If parents engaged in polygamy and polyandry are economically empowered, they would have collective responsibility like educating their children and raising them morally upright. Due to this, Kenya will grow both economically and socially because of quality education given to their children and the guidance given to them for them to grow both morally upright and given morally upright to the community. Are you guys even serious? Standing here or sitting here trying to convince us that we should allow polygamy and polyandry in Kenya so that it can both grow economically and socially? I don't think so. I, Nyambura Masi, 2 South from the Paragon class, stand here firm to oppose the motion that states, for Kenya to grow both economically and socially, then polygamy and polyandry should be legalized. My point will mainly based on the effect. On to my first point, health. Let's take an example when I am married to 4 husbands, while one husband has married 5 wives. And then this husband decides not to be faithful and goes up there. And when he comes back, he contracts a disease. Let's say a disease like HIV and AIDS or STIs. There is a big possibility that he can also spread it to you since you are his wife. And also, me as a mother, when I get this disease, also my children are at the edge of risk to contaminate this disease. So this will lead to health disaster. And when it leads to health disaster, remember that not just one family is practicing this polygamy and polyandry stuff. Another family out there, more than 2 families, many families out there in Kenya are practicing this. And let's say that their husband or their wife really decided not to be faithful. Leads me to my second point. High cost of living. One husband has 4 wives. And then these 4 wives, each of them decides that I will have 3 wives, 3 children each. And then remember that in Kenya today, that the cost of things are rising. 1 loaf of bread is, let's say, 85 shillings. And then you have children, you have wives, they need to eat. And let's say that you don't have a well-paying job. Let's say that you are a builder. How will you cater for your family? How will you cater for them? They need shelter. They need education. How will you cater for their needs? Third point, population. We've seen in nations like China. China has high population, and that is why the government of China has decided that each family will have a maximum of 3 wives and a minimum of a maximum of 2 children and a minimum of 1 child. Because the government has seen that when it continues like this, they will lose a lot. Even though China is a developed country, but they need to focus on population, since when it goes to population, the country will go down. My 4th point.
For each developing country, which is both economically and socially developed, then it depends on the rate of people. If I may try to correct you, you have said that the husband or the wife may be unfaithful. The rate of unfaithful cases now, it is too high because polygamy and polyandry has not yet been legalized. Why has it not yet been legalized? Because the government have not yet come to their thinking that it might help the country. If polygamy and polyandry is going to be legalized, then I don't think if there will be unfaithful cases, because the husbands and the wives are going to be satisfied with whatever what they are going to have. Control of population. When am I saying that there is control of population? In these polygamy families, remember, there are family planning practices which will be going on there. So I don't think if this family have planned themselves where there will be increase in population. And if even I may base on polyandry, in polyandry, a woman can only give birth once a year. So this woman who is married, who can give birth only once a year, that means that there will be control of population. Because these men will be having only 1 child a year, and these are several men. So this one even will lead to quality education to this kid.
If I cannot be contented with 1, even if I get 10, I'll just not be contented. Yes, that's true. You also say there is sharing of responsibilities. How will we share responsibility? The burden is too big for us. Actually, maybe I'm an okay. You mean 5 children? We will be able to cater for them. We'll just make the crimes go high. The rate of crimes will just go high. Because what will I do? My children have to study. I have to cater for them. Food, shelter, everything is expected of me. So what will it end up me doing? Theft, crime. It will use it me to empower our nation, not through polygamy. Polygamy does nothing, completely nothing, has nothing to do with our development based on economics. And to my second point, youth empowerment. Let's empower our youth. Let us show them that it's not only on depending on on depending that they can make it. Actually, we want to tell our youth, go on, just marry as many wives as possible so that our nation may go up. You are lying. Just stop lying. Let's show them you can do businesses, you can work, and make our country prosper, not through polygamy. And to my third point, making health care. Let's empower our nation based on these people that they help in teaching. Like, we do believe that an healthy nation is a working nation, and a working nation is a developed nation. And to my fifth point, infrastructure. Let's develop our infrastructure. Let's make many roads as much as possible. Let's just strengthen our nation that we will be able to transport goods and we will make our nation grow. Stop just thinking negative. Polygamy will empower our nation. What is that? That is foolishness.
To the opponent, we need facts for us to believe that polyandry and polygamy will not work, not insults. And you say this man will go out and cheat out of the relationship. Now you tell me, a man who has married several wives of different kinds, he can go to anyone who he feels like anytime. Will he go out and cheat? And yet this man has the opportunity to marry another wife at any time he feels like. Charity from the Three Easterners opposing the motion that says polyandry and polygamy are the only way to. The motion that states for Kenya to grow both economically and socially, polyandry and polygamy should be legalized. On to my first point. Single parenting. Many of the parents who end up being single parents is because they don't want to be the source of violence between these two couples who have settled and they love each other. Therefore, they end up being single parents because they don't have anyone to pay back their love with their offering. Therefore, they end up being single parents. The results of being a single parent, they are really adverse. If I can give you an example, in Nairobi, the number of street children in the year 2009, it was 25,000, while in the year 2019, it was 35,000. According to the statistics given, majority of these street children, they are children which they are raised by single parents. This is because the parents do not have enough time to spend with their children. This means that the child will not be upright, mentally and emotionally. Because one of the problems experienced by these single parents, while it's because they have less time to spend with their children. This is according to the statistics which are given by Kenya National Housing and Population Census. To my second point,
we have been a witness of property fighting and in polygamy family. What if we make it legal? Do you want our country to be a fighting zone? I go by the name Michelle Njoki from the second class, here to oppose the motion that said for Kenya to grow both economically and socially, polygamy and polyandry should be legalized. I first want to ask a question to the first proposer. You said reviews of diseases. This is impossible. Take for example, a man marries several wives and then he gets contaminated. He suffers under HIV and then he has 7 wives. Will he not spread the disease? He will. And then you said sharing responsibility. This is a lie. When there is polygamy, most of the women that the wives stay behind at home, taking care of the children, and the father is left on his own to provide the daily bread. Now, and then take for instance, he's a father to this family, he's a father to that family. Look, that's burden that he's carrying. And then you say equal education. This is a lie. How can there be equal education when we have a high population? The children that so, even if there be equal education, not all of them will get this equal education. The second control population. You cannot control population and polygamy and polyandry. We talked about single parenting. these single parents, you say it is so hard for a single parent to take care of the child. You have not denied the single parent an opportunity to get married. She can get married to another husband, and the children could get the comfort they need, but not polygamy. And then you say there will be peace. There will not be peace. How many fights have we seen? People fighting over land. How many fights have we seen? People fighting over property and polygamy. There will be no peace. In fact, it will be war. And I would like to define the motion which our first proposer in it. Kenya, a nation combined of Kenyans found in the Eastern Africa. Economic, it's a way connected with trade, industry, and wealth of a country. Socially, a way of connecting with society and the way it is organized. Polygamy, the custom of having more than one wife at the same time. Polyandry, the custom of having more than one husband at the same time. Legalized, the state of promotion